All right, so we are getting close to the end of Unit 7. We are working on the Part 2 notes. We've already done the first section and the second section of these notes. The first section was the parts of the ear and the process through which we hear. And in that section, you were supposed to write a question about something you were wondering, maybe about sound, about the ear, how we hear. So remember that question is there. Then in the second part, we learned about properties of sound. We learned about the term pitch, how sound can be high-pitched or low-pitched. We talked about compressions and rarefactions, and we also talked about how volume is really just the amplitude of a wave, and a high amplitude is going to give us a loud volume, whereas a low amplitude is going to give us a quiet or soft volume. And we ended those notes by putting a star right here and saying that pitch and volume are independent of one another, meaning they're not related. And that's something that I just wanted to go through and remind everyone before we finish the last part of these notes. And that will be the end of content for Unit 7, with the exception of a sound phenomena sheet that we do later on. So the last piece of this unit is going to be us discussing the speed of sound. So go ahead and highlight this. For these notes, you're going to need something to write with and a couple of highlighters. And so the first thing that we've got is, you know that sound travels through air. And that's something that we definitely all know, because that's how we typically hear sound, is through the air. But sound can also travel through liquids and solids as well. So we have this chart right here. And I want you to go ahead and highlight the solids in blue. And the solids that we have in this chart, let's go ahead and highlight those, are iron, steel, and diamond. And the speed of sound in iron is 5,130. The speed of sound in steel is 6,100. And the speed of sound in diamond is 12,000, and those units are meters per second. Then our liquids, highlight those in green. Our medium, remember medium is just a fancy word for matter, or our materials, are kerosene, pure water, and salt water. And we can see the speed of sound in each of those, and we want to take a moment and compare those to the solids. And when we look, we can see that based on these numbers, whose are larger? Who does sound seem to travel through faster, at a faster speed? And it looks like that sound is traveling at a faster speed through the solids than through the liquids, based on this data. Let's move over to the gases column. The gases that we have, the materials are air, neon gas, and water vapor, which would be steam. So look at these numbers: 343 meters per second for air, 461 meters per second for neon, and 478 meters per second for water vapor or steam. So that's the speed of sound in these three gases. Compare that to the solids. So I'd like for you to pause the video and take a moment and answer questions 1 and 2 below, and then once you've answered them, resume the video and see if you got them correct. All right, so question number 1 says, what conclusion can you draw from the chart above as to how sound travels in solids, liquids, and gases? So based on this chart, and we were discussing this a moment ago, it appears that sound travels the fastest in solids and the slowest in gases, which is odd to us because we typically think the way that we hear things is the best, but actually it is the slowest in gases, the way that we hear sound. And then number 2, suppose you are conducting an experiment to compare the speed of sound through glass and through air. Make a prediction based on your conclusion above. Explain your reasoning. So our prediction would be that it would go through glass faster than air because glass is a solid and air is a gas. Okay? So continuing on with that concept of sound traveling fastest through a solid, 2 properties of matter that influence the speed of sound are the stiffness and the density. In most cases, sound travels fastest in solids, followed by liquids and then gases. Okay, and here's the reason why. We're going to go through and highlight some parts in this gray section. So the speed at which sound travels from one place to another depends upon the medium, and that word should be very familiar to us now in this unit. And how closely packed the molecules are in the matter. That's going to be the density. A medium is a substance that allows sound waves to travel through it. Where there is no medium, no sound can be transmitted. And that place with no medium would be outer space or in a vacuum. So there's no sound in outer space. When you see movies where stuff's being blown up in outer space and there's loud explosions and stuff, that's actually scientifically inaccurate because there is no sound in outer space. There's no medium, there's no matter for those sound particles to travel through. Of the 3 mediums, solid, liquid, and gas, sound waves travel the slowest through gases, faster through liquids, and fastest through solids. So when we look at this picture right here, we see that a sound wave to go through the gas has to jump, draw a little arrow, it has to jump these big distances between the particles to get from one to another. Whereas in a solid that's very densely packed, it can just scoot right on through because the particles are side by side, very close. So that's why it can go the fastest through a solid. Let's put stars around that because we're definitely going to need to remember that. It's legend that out west, if the train robbers wanted to know if the train was coming, they wouldn't put their ear out in the air and listen. They would put their ear down to the railroad tracks because they're solid and they could hear that way better if the train was coming through those solid railroad tracks. All right, flip your page over. So our last little section, reflection of sound. So when a sound wave encounters a smooth, hard surface, some of the energy of the wave may be reflected by the surface to travel in another direction. A sound caused by this reflection is called an echo. Sometimes you can hear an echo when you yell into a large space surrounded by hard surfaces, such as a gym, a cave, or a canyon. So here's a diagram of how a sound wave bounces off of a hard surface. Take a moment and highlight this. We have the original wave in orange going this way, and then we have the object that it bounces off of. I have that in yellow. That's the reflected wave coming back. The sender sends the wave out. When it bounces off the object, it then receives the wave back. And this can be used for many different uses that we'll discuss in a moment. So take a second and highlight that 2 different colors. Okay? So some animals, such as bats, whales, and dolphins, use reflected sound waves to locate sources of food in a process called echolocation. These animals make sounds and can tell how far away a reflecting object is based in the time it takes for the echo to return. So take a moment and let's look at this picture. So we've got the sound waves that were made by this dolphin, and the sound waves are sent out, but then when they hit this fish, they are then reflected back to the dolphin. And in doing so, it's kind of like this picture above. The dolphin can determine how far away the fish is by process of echolocation. Sound reflection has many uses. List how each of the following use it. So one of them would be ultrasound machines. They use reflections of sound waves to create images of things inside the human body. Ships use a sonar device that allows echolocation to measure the depth of water. And you can see that down here at the bottom of your notes, where they can see how deep the water is that they're in. And then sonar is used to produce detailed maps of the ocean floor to locate objects like sunken ships. So ultrasounds, ships, and sonar. Let's take a moment and highlight those three uses of sound reflection. Okay, so now it's time for you to flip the page and work on the lesson review questions. Let me know if you have any questions.